Youngsters are silently struggling. You know, it is sad that body image issues is such a big thing for them, you know.
You don't turn your body into a project. Your body's not a project. These Instagram, TikTok trends are just trends. They're there for a few years. I feel the youngsters of today's generation are very, very brave. I think most importantly, this has to end at the grassroots level. If you don't feel secure and safe at home, then it's a sad situation. Truth will always win. Honesty will always be the right path to take. So normalize conversations. Speak about anything and everything that you want your child to tell you. When you normalize it, it doesn't become a task. It just becomes normal. Make your child self-sufficient. I think being self-sufficient is an education that should be a part of your education. I think finance, more than math and this, you have to teach your kids how to manage their finances. But I feel we women generally are just built, we are inbuilt with the ability to multitask.
How do you think development and preservation can coexist responsibly?
At the end of the day, development is definitely necessary, but it has to be conscious. If you are trying to develop a place without respecting the land or without respecting the people of that land, then you're doing an injustice. Am I adding value?
Yes.
Am I employing people from the land? Am I giving opportunities for that?
We always see the performance, Shveta. We never see the preparation.
Yeah.
What's the BTS like?
Well, I would just say never walk into a room unprepared. I don't like walking into a room unprepared. It's not about fitting a certain size.
When your daughter looks back at your journey one day, what do you hope she understands about you?
I just hope my daughter, if she looks back, she says my mama was there. I want her to know that mama was always present.
Welcome to Unscripted with Joyce. Here we have intentional and sossegado conversations that flow straight from the heart. This isn't about perfect timelines or tidy success stories. It's about the pauses, the pivots, the questions we didn't have answers to, and the journeys that have shaped us into who we've become today. Recorded from the beautiful land of Goa, where life moves with reflection and rhythm. This space is inspired by the Goan spirit, slow, soulful, and deeply human. I'm Joyce, and this space is an invitation to slow down and to listen. My guest today is someone many of us grew up watching and admiring. From her early days on television in Hip Hip Hooray to becoming a household name as Dr. Ritu Mishra in Left, Right, Left. She has sure carved a space for herself with her talent, versatility, and her presence. She made her film debut in Pyar Mein Kabhi Kabhi, faced her fears in Khatron Ke Khiladi, and even graced the covers of Maxim India. But I must mention that I watched her on television in Jhalak Dikhla Ja in complete awe. And to be sitting here today with her, having this conversation, feels truly surreal. Beyond the screen, she's an entrepreneur, a mother, a fitness pro, and a woman who's evolved through many seasons of life. Shveta, welcome to Unscripted with Joyce. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the studio with me today.
Thank you for having me, Joyce. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I'm so glad you're doing this.
Thank you. So Unscripted is all about raw, real, and inspiring stories. And of course, we're going to dive straight into your story. But you know what? I asked two of your friends, to describe you. And this is all that they said.
Oh God,
okay, they said a lot of things, but
good.
These are some of the things that they said. They said, Shveta is a very, very talented person. She's extremely hardworking. She's a professional, which means she has very good work ethics. She is nice. A pro max fitness enthusiast. She's a loving mother. And she's a person who is a very, very good friend. She's always there to help out a friend. Well, keeping this in mind, I want to hear from you your story. From the beginning, the in-between, and everything that is now.
Wow, that's a lot. How long do you have?
I have a lot of time.
Well, I started very young, Joyce. Okay, I heard your introduction with me, like you guys have grown up watching me. Whenever people say that you've grown up watching me, I said, y'all make me sound so old. I mean, when y'all were young, even I was young.
You were old when you were watching
I said, when y'all were watching me, even I was young, because I started so young. So yeah, I started my journey very, very young. Started as modeling. And then I was through college, I was in Sapphires, and we have a beautiful Polytech. We have a whole theatre thing. So I started with theatre there, which kind of gradually, kind of took me to the acting genre. I started with theatre, acting, modeling. This is where my career started. But as a child, I was very inclined towards the creative field. Apart from the academics, my parents they encouraged me in music. So I've done my Hindustani classical Sangeet. I'm a Kathak dancer.
Wow.
So that was kind of my roots. And that's what gave me wings to do what I did in my career eventually. So yeah, that's how I started. I started very young. But I joined the industry so young and this industry is an industry that kind of tells you who you are before even you know who you are. It kind of teaches you things before you even realize. And I was in my 20s when I started, even earlier than that, 16 or something when I started. So I started with confidence. My 20s were, I think, confidence. My 30s was probably, I would say, surviving it.
Okay.
And my 40s, I would say, which I am right now, is I consider it my best era, the best decade.
Okay.
And I feel my 40s are more inhabiting it, accepting it. And that is where my journey is right now. The now is less. It's less noise,
Okay.
The earlier was a lot more noise. I have more clarity now. I guess the shift in the journey is what the real journey is. When you realize your different eras and your decades and how you accept it at every stage. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's a little bit in a short form.
Yes. So this is the era which is happening for
It's fantastic. I love it. It's the best.
Very, very good. Okay, so you wear many hats, okay? I've already said, you are a model, actress, performer, mother, entrepreneur. How do you juggle all of this? How do you balance those hats and those roles?
Firstly, I agree. Thank you for saying that. And I get that a lot. But I feel we women generally are just built. We are inbuilt with the ability to multitask. We are inbuilt with the ability to wear many hats, to juggle many balls in the air without dropping any. The whole thing is how well do you juggle them and how well you do not drop any of them. I think women generally are inbuilt to be multitaskers.
Yes.
But despite of that, yes, I do a lot of things. I remember my mom when I was young, she would always say that, it was this one phrase she would always say, which kind of used to bother me then, and now it still does. And now I think finally she's made peace with it. She would always say, "I'm jack of all trades, master of none." Those typical lines where folks would say. I said, "Mama, you know what? I'd rather be jack of all trades than master one thing." Yes. What is the joy and what's the fun in life when you only do one thing? I'd rather do 500 things and I do it at the best that I can. At least I can say when I finally leave this world and say, "Ki yaar, maine sab kuch kar liya."
Wow.
Ek hi nahi kiya. So yeah, I do juggle many hats, like you say. But I think my favorite role is of a creator.
Wow. I was just going to come to that. Is it fair to ask that? But you've already answered it.
I think it's my favorite role. Okay. I basically get a lot of joy by starting things and creating things from scratch. Mm-hmm. I like building things from scratch. I'm somebody who really sees the joy in that. Mm-hmm. Apart from the acting and apart from being an entrepreneur, I shifted gears. I moved to Goa. Of course, then motherhood happened. Developing different experiences, doing events, curating, doing content for social media. Everything gives me joy because I feel that it gives me an opportunity to create something. I like to ideate. I'm a conceptualizer and I like to see it come to fruition.
Yes.
And that's my favorite role. I like being a creator.
So interesting. And we're going to dive more deeper into that. Yeah. But let's, talk about the spotlight. If I were to move away from the spotlight that you've had, so much of spotlight that you've had, and if we switch that off for some time, and when the cameras actually stop rolling and the makeup comes off, could you tell me what a real bad day in show business looks like?
In show business, well, see, like you said, what is the spotlight like? What is the world behind? It's actually not glamorous. This myth that it's such a glamorous industry, it's actually exactly the opposite. There's no glamour in it. What you see eventually on your screens is all your filtered version and it's all your edited version. You know, after our conversation, I'm sure your editor is going to do a good job of fixing the light and doing the filters. And that's what people see.
Yes.
But what goes behind is the real thing, which is auditions, which is rejection, which is so much of self-doubt, which is like, am I really doing the right thing? Am I right in the right? All that is the behind the scenes, which you never get to see.
Yes.
Hence, when they say acting, it really is acting. You're not just playing a character. You're actually also acting lots of things, your own insecurities. You're trying to hide those. You're trying to run away from those and portray something else. So that's the non-glamorous side of the industry. What a bad day for me in life generally is when I plan something, when I do something, and when it doesn't land.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you're creating something, it's like you're making a dish, you have a dinner party and you're cooking this wonderful meal and tumne namak dalna bhul gaye.
Yeah.
So
and
when
you
it
put in
doesn't
so
land,
much of effort into
you put
it,
the
you know.
effort. When you see your effort, when you see your hard work, when you see your ideations, your ideas don't come to life, that's a bad day for me. And that bad day turns into self-doubt, which kind of shakes your faith a little bit, shakes your, you know, confidence. That self-doubt, when it creeps in, is a bad day for me.
Yeah.
You know, but the difference, I can say, Joyce, very confidently now, is that the old Shwe would spiral on a bad day. This, the 40-year-old, takes a pause. You know, I don't spiral the way I used to. I pause, I reflect, and I reset. So that's how I fix
So that's so heartening to hear. it really, and we have to reset. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
But was there a no? This is a very personal question, Shveta. Was there a no that stayed with you longer than expected?
Oh, 100%. Rejections are something which you just have to deal with. And I've heard a lot of no's in my life. Very few yeses. I guess that's why the shift happened. I said, I don't need to listen to anybody's no's. I'm going to turn them all into yeses. And I said, I'm going to finally take the reins of my life and my career in my own hands. So yeah, there were lots of no's, things that where I thought I was supposed to be, I never got a chance to be there. Opportunities that probably went to people who didn't have the privileges that I because, you know, I mean, I hate using the word nepo, because that was never there when we were in the industry, but there were opportunities given easier to people with probably, I wouldn't want to say less talent, but maybe there was somebody else who was more deserving. Let's say that. So yeah, those no's were hard hitting, you know. Those no's would make me feel that, am I really in the right place? Like, am I even supposed to be here?
Yes, so there's a lot of self-doubt.
Self-doubt, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
If I'm getting so many no's, maybe, you know, everybody can't be wrong. I must be wrong.
Yes.
All that kind of really weighs you down and stays with you and can either pull you.
Yes.
Or if you learn to just say, I'm going to bounce from this and try and do something on your own. So so that.
Yeah, so you know, it has the ability to kind of suck you into this
completely. Yeah.
So is it safe to say that this really takes a toll on your mental health, and how did you take care and self-preserve?
100%. Well, you know, mental health that you speak about, I'm so glad you're talking about that. It's something which we talk about it now. It's this generation, you know, this last few 10, 15 years, I would say. When we were kids, when we went to school, when we went to college, there was no such thing as mental health. Our parents don't even know about it. They would say, if you tell them, I want to go and meet a shrink, I want to talk to a counselor, the first thing that generation would say that, "Arey, tum pagal to nahi ho." Arey, you don't have to be crazy to go and speak to a counselor.
Yes, because counselors have got that rap that you have only the mad people.
Only the mad people go.
Yes.
I mean, I always say, when you have if you have a problem in your eye, you go to an ophthalmologist. When you have a problem in your teeth, you go to a dentist. When you have everything has a specific doctor. So why can't you have somebody for your mental health? And that's not considered ki you're mad, that's why you have to go. So mental health was never a part of our vocabulary. Mental health was never a part of a conversation back then.
Yes.
So then I would say I didn't handle it really well. I did have my crashes. I did go through massive depressions. I did go through places where I said, you know, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And I was like, I've put in so much time, effort, energy. Now where do I go? You know, when you feel lost, I did everything to be a part of this. And now if I've not achieved all the things that I needed to. But mental health then was very different because it was never there. Now how do I maintain it? And I think I've learned to say no faster.
Yes.
You know, setting boundaries is something which one never knew.
Yes.
Now I'm like,
never knew and never thought as well.
Yes. You know, and I think now the way I keep my mental health in check is by saying no often and faster. I don't take my time. taking space.
Yes.
Taking a holiday, say taking rest, holiday more than holiday, say taking rest.
Like a real break.
A break, taking a rest without feeling conscious or feeling guilty.
Yes.
I
think that's important.
It's so important.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I remember my mom still doesn't do it. She's 70 now and she still wakes up and I said, you don't need to, Ma.
Yeah.
It's okay. Rest.
Yes.
You don't have to feel guilty about it. You don't have to feel apologetic about it.
Yeah.
Resting is a reset where you just align everything in you and then you just start all over again.
Yes.
It's like that Monopoly game, pass, go, collect your 200, it's okay.
And then we come back again. I think it's so important and I want the listeners to pay attention to this, that we can start, we can reset, we can restart.
Unapologetically.
Yes.
You don't have to feel sorry about it.
Absolutely. Because it is you're taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
And I think it's the need of the hour.
Absolutely.
I think it's so important.
Absolutely.
But coming back to the industry and, this industry is scrutinizing you, evaluating you, even a 5-minute audition.
Oh my God.
They're constantly judging you. And then we have today's world where we are constantly, editing ourselves. We have youngsters who are editing their faces, their bodies, their lives. And it brings me to this important question of what true beauty really is. What's your take on that?
What true beauty really is? Well, I think beauty is a presence. It's not just external, internal. There's an inner beauty, and it's very, yes, of course, inner beauty is very there. You can't deny it. But I think beauty is presence. I think beauty is how you make, when you walk into a room, how do you make the other person feel?
Wow.
That is what real beauty, according to me, is. And if you can be kind, if you can be empathetic, I think that's beautiful.
Wow.
At the end of the day.
That's so deep, Shveta. Oh my God.
Am I making this very serious,
this
conversation?
But it is very deep, now that I think about it, yes. It's
how you make somebody else feel.
I think the beauty lies in that, your ability to make others feel good, feel comfortable. I think
because the minute you make the other person feel good, the other person's going to look at you in kinder eyes.
Yes.
And will find you attractive.
Yes.
Nobody likes a person who walks in the room with aggression. Nobody likes somebody who walks in the room with an attitude or an ego.
Yes.
The person who's watching you or looking at you is immediately going to find you unattractive.
Yes.
But if you walk into a room with kindness, if you walk into a room with empathy, if the minute that person is going to look at you with kind eyes and is going to find you more attractive. So that, according to me, is actually what beauty is.
Yes. But I'm going to move the focus a little on physical beauty. Were there times where you felt you weren't enough physically, Shveta?
Oh yeah, all the time. I remember. See, I'm not a very tall girl. I'm about 5'4", 5'5", and I came to in the industry as a model. I started as a model, and I was called. I was I think 17 or 18 or something. 18, I think, yes. And I was called to audition for Femina Miss India, and I was like, listen, I don't want to come. I don't want to audition because I know I'm not tall. Models, especially when it comes to fashion modeling, you need to be a certain height. You need to be that tall because your clothes have to fall in a certain way when you're walking down the ramp. Yes, there was an era where models like Namrata Shirodkar, who was Miss India, who also went ahead and won internationally, she was not very tall. But after Namrata Shirodkar, lots of other models were taller. Yes. And I was in that era when I came after. So I was like, the girls are all tall. I don't need to. Please don't. I don't want to audition.
Yes.
And they insisted. I remember. They had asked me, please, we want. And the audition was in Taj in Bombay, and I went, and there were thousands and hundreds of girls, and beautiful, long, tall, slender girls. Yes, there were girls like me as well. And I remember I auditioned, and I sat in front of them, and they all said, my God, you're so photogenic, you're so da-da-da, but you're not tall. So I'm like, when I knew that, I knew this is the answer, why would you want me to go through this process? Yes. And I was 18, Thankfully, I still had the maturity to understand this then. And I was like, I know I'm not tall. I insisted I didn't want to come. Yes. But y'all made me come. So now by insisting, y'all gave me a glimmer of hope.
Yes.
That little light you feel like, oh, maybe they'll see something else in me. Maybe for me, the criteria of height won't be a big deal. So when you give a glimmer to an 18-year-old girl whose eyes are full of ambition and, wants to do, and then when right there you say, oh, you're not so tall. I was like, but I already knew that. Yeah. Why did you insist for me to come? So these are those body images. These are the rejections. Which
Yes.
it stayed with me for a very long time, and it
Yeah.
took time for me to get over it.
Yes.
And I realized that this is how the industry is, and this
Yeah.
is how, not just industry, this is how the world is.
Yes.
In any field of work.
Yes.
It's just learning to finally, like I said, learning to say no fast, learning to
Yes.
put your boundaries and say.
Yes.
I wish that old Shveta had said, "Nee, I don't want to do it." I just felt something
Yeah.
to it, and I went ahead. But
Yes. but yes, we live in times where there are constant comparisons. There's so many
Constant.
filters, like you
Always.
said. And there are certain unrealistic standards that are set for our youngsters.
Yeah.
Now, Shveta, I want to talk about something which is very unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Our youngsters are silently struggling. You know, it is sad that body image issues is such a big thing for them. You know, I want to give you an example of what stayed with me in my line of work, with my work with youngsters, with young children, with teenagers, with young adults. There are certain statements that struck a chord. They stayed with me, and I reflected on them. Something like, "I am worthy only if I'm attractive. If I don't lose weight, nobody's going to accept me. My nose is pointy, my neck is long, my hair is all over the place,
Yeah.
my body is crooked," and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then you look at the society. Forget about the society. You look at the family members. Whether it's lack of awareness, whether it's lack of education, I don't know. But you know, your own loved ones, your own people who are close to you will comment on your body.
Yeah.
They will judge you and they will body shame you. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, like you said, if your own family cannot give you the confidence or make you feel safe and secure, then you're already failing. You know,
Yes.
where are you going to find that validation then?
Yeah.
You know, then you step out to the world. The world is obviously going to be cruel. So if at home you're not getting it, then I think it's so sad that where are these kids going to get it otherwise?
Yes.
When you speak about body shaming and body imaging, I just want to tell kids today, and I'm a mother of a 9-year-old, and I can see her. This is the TikTok, Instagram, social
Yes.
media generation. What they see 24/7. It's in our hands to make sure that they get to see what you want them to see, and if even though they're seeing what it is, you can't take it away from them. You have to educate them in your own way.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, I always try and say, you don't turn your body into a project. Your body's not a project, you know.
Yes.
These Instagram, TikTok trends are just trends. They're there for a few years.
Yes.
Your body is a vessel that you have to carry with you through life.
And that stays with
And
you.
it's going to take you all the way. So, you know, injecting yourself, growing something, putting Botox, making your hips bigger, making your waist tinier, doing fillers. These are trends which will eventually die. What's going to happen is these things are going to still remain in your body. Like I said, it's your vessel. You cannot abuse it.
Yes.
You cannot take it to a point where there's no comeback.
Yeah.
So don't fall for these. It's not a project. It's your body. It's sacred. It's your temple. And at the end of the day, don't, like you said, how should family? I think most importantly, this has to end at the grassroots level. If you don't feel secure and safe at home, then it's a sad situation going to be outside. So.
Yeah, and to further that, Shveta, I want you to help me unpack social media, because it has a really big effect.
It has a very big effect. The
our
whole
little
world
ones.
is there. Yeah.
And when I say little ones, how they relate to their bodies, what impact it has on them, they're thinking their version of perfect, you know, is very different from what we had. Our version of perfect, thanks to no social media at that point in time. But when I say young children, I'm talking about 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds. And it breaks my heart to see these little ones chasing a dream, which is, I'm not saying it's unachievable, but for what?
Yeah.
You know, at what cost?
Correct.
So how would you look at it as a mother?
I mean, see, at the end of the day, it's how much you can... See, I feel with kids, the more you shield, the more you hide, the more you keep it away, the more curiosity you develop for a child. It's just basic, I think, psychology.
Yes.
So I would say you'd rather be open.
Yeah.
I, as a parent, have not hidden anything from my child. If she has a question, I will answer it, and as real and as honest that I can.
Yes.
Even if it means telling her some terminologies which she will not understand, I'll try and make it as age appropriate to make her understand. I feel truth will always win. Honesty will always be the right path to take. Shielding away, shying away, hiding things is just going to create more doubt. It's only going to create more confusion. And then they will try to find answers in other ways, which is through friends, or they'll go online, and that half-hearted information is worst.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It's very, very dangerous. My child is, she's young, in a few years puberty hits, and this is a very crucial time in this, when you say age of 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yes.
This is a very crucial years where their curiosity is at peak.
Yeah.
And it is obvious. And I think curiosity has to be there. Children should be curious.
Yes.
If they are not curious, how are they going to discover and learn?
Very much.
But now you as a parent, how are you going to drive that curiosity?
Yes.
The car is in your hand. Now how are you going to turn the steering wheel?
Very much.
You give them the right path, feed their curiosity, tell them what they want to hear, but give them the information right.
Yeah.
Don't say the birds and the bees and the flowers. No, it's no birds and
can you really
bees.
do that
Yeah,
today?
who does
they
that?
have
Tell them the
information
truth.
at their fingertips.
Tell them the truth.
Yes,
And I guess the more open you are, the more clarity there is.
Yeah.
There is less confusion.
Very much.
So you keep it clear. You keep it as raw as it is.
Yes.
Like you said, these raw conversations. You keep it as raw. And it's going to make more sense. Otherwise, other child's always going to be very foggy-brained.
Yeah.
Ki kya tha? Okay, mama said this, but my friend in bus said this. And on the on internet, this was something else.
Yeah.
When it comes from mama and dada clear that this is what it is, then there is clarity.
I think there's so much of depth in what you've said, and I totally agree with you, because today they say is a very difficult time to be a parent.
But Joyce, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
But I hope parents who are hearing this conversation
Yes.
also understand that. I feel parents also kind of get inhibited, like they get shy to share certain things. Oh no, she's too young. Oh, he's too young. Oh, maybe the right time. When is the right time?
When is the right time? And I've interacted with my family, my friends. When we talk, everybody talks a lot. But when it comes to their children, they're like, let the counselor talk to them.
Why?
Or let the teacher talk to them.
Yeah.
Or is there an aunt who's really good at talking? Maybe she can do it. And I get that a lot.
I am that aunt in a lot of cases. I am that aunt to lots of Arya's friends.
I can relate to you, because, my background is a counselor, and a lot of my family members said, why don't you talk to our kids? But it's so important. It comes from
I am that
from
aunt
the
in lots of
parent.
lots of Arya's friends. They're like, Anishwe, can we come and talk to you? I said, yes, please. And not just with Arya's friends, even in my family. We have the younger generation in my family. They're like, why is it so easy to talk to you? I said, because I am just honest.
Yeah.
There is no hiding, and I don't feel shy.
Yes.
When they ask me the really awkward questions,
Yeah.
when you are awkward, you're going to make it even more
Very
awkward.
much.
So it's natural, just be normal.
Yeah.
Or when they ask you questions about smoking, they'll ask you questions about drugs, they'll ask you questions about sex, they'll ask you questions about sexual orientation.
Yes.
Why do you have to shy from these things?
And these are such
And these
amazing
are
questions.
These are very, and like I said, it's curiosity,
yes.
which you have to tell children.
Very
if
true.
you're going to feel shy, no, maybe not right now, right time pe bataunga, right time kab hai bhai?
But also, Shveta, this brings me to that whole rapport and bond that the parent have with the child, because we also have, all of us are working today. I think majority of the parents, both parents are working. So what's your take on quality versus quantity in terms of timing, in terms of spending time with the child?
Yeah.
Because, if you don't have that bond with the child, the parent is always thinking, but what, I can't suddenly go and talk to the child about this. So
That's a very, very good question. I'm so glad you said this. This is a struggle which I've seen a lot of parents and lots of friends and of my generation and my era.
Yes.
I can see it happening, and you're right. We are living in a hustle generation, the hustle world, where one job is not enough.
Yeah.
So the dad's working, the mom's working, not just one, multiple jobs. Like you say, I wear many hats. I wear that out of choice because I just like to do too many things.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a hustle generation.
Yes.
So where do you find that quality time? It's such a valid question. I think it's not about the quantity.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about quantity. I could be a housewife, or I can be a homemaker sitting at home. I could have all the time in the world, and I could be doing, sorry for my language, but I could be doing complete jack shit and not adding any value to my child.
Yes.
Or I could be doing these multiple hundred things, and I still find time to sit with my daughter or sit with my family, have that one meal, sit and have, like the other day, yesterday she's come back from Bombay. She was traveling with my mom, and she has this one game on her thing, which is some Toka Boka or something, or Avatar World, where they make these little rooms.
Yes.
I mean, it was just such a joy to spend that 10 minutes with her, where she showed me how she's developed her own room and she has one character, That is quality.
Yes.
Okay? It doesn't have, every time you spend with a child does not have to be, oh, let's sit and talk. Oh, let's make it intellectual.
Sometimes it's just listening, right?
Just sitting with them and spending that time when she's doing a silly thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what are these new kids that are doing blind boxes. Oh my God, they're constantly making these blind boxes with little things. It's okay. That's what I'm saying. This is great. You sit with them. I just sit and watch her do. That is quality.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be every time you sit with them, that has to be a talk. Every time you sit with them, it doesn't have to be what happened in school. You know, when you ask them, how was school? There's only one, oh, great.
Yeah.
So you never get the right answer. So you rather do time like this and it comes in conversation.
Yeah.
They on their own start spilling the beans.
True.
They on their own will share things with you. That is quality. So if you don't have to spend 20 hours, you can spend that 20 minutes sitting and doing a blind box with her, playing on that lady, that silly avatar game, or doing anything. But in that 20 minutes, because you're finding a child in the most comfortable phase, right?
Very much.
When you're making a child feel most comfortable, then they just feel it so comfortable to speak and share with you.
And you know what is silly to them is so important to them.
Yeah.
It's
silly for us, but it's so important to them. So when you value that
in their world, it is so important.
Yeah.
And mom and dad being a part of that important project.
It is everything for them.
It's everything for them.
So then you don't have to dig.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask, how was your day at school?
Yes.
Was somebody kind to you? Was somebody mean to you? Do you have a bully? You don't have to dig. It just comes automatically on its own.
Because you're opening those channels.
You just keep it clear, you know. Yeah. I think the less we overthink things, the less we don't complicate things. It's just really simple. You know, and with children, I think we just make it simple and it just kind of flows.
Very nice, Shveta. I really like the way you put it all across.
I learned a new game now. I can play Toka Boka also.
But I'm going to shift the gears here a little bit. I'm going to tell you about this article that I wrote a couple of years ago. It is teaching children how to deal with failures. A subject that we don't really talk to our children about. There were mixed, feedback that I got. The responses were like, oh, we really appreciate this. I agree with you. But there was some where they said, we disagree with you. We don't need to talk to our children about disagreement or about failures. Some of them were also very uncomfortable with the topic failure. Now, we live in a world where sometimes our schools are not equipping us to deal with the real world, where there's so much of failure, there's so much of rejection. Were there moments in your life where you felt this, where you deeply questioned yourself, and said, what am I doing? Is this really happening?
Yeah, and I guess failure is as important and as wonderfully, and how as much as we celebrate success, I think if you don't accept and celebrate failure, it's not going to happen. It has to go hand in hand.
Yes.
Failure also needs to be a part of your journey, because until then, without that, you will not know what really success is. So yes, I have had my share of failures. I've had my share of rejections. Like I said some time back, that it puts you into self-doubt. You go spiraling. But I guess it's all a journey, Joyce.
Yes.
Like sometimes I think about it. I wish I had the sensibility that I have today. Then, I wish I had the knowledge that I have today. Then, I wish I had the courage to say no, like I can say no today, unapologetically. Then, but I'm like, if I would have not become this person today without then.
Yes,
I had to go through those failures. I had to go through my complexes. I had to go through my self-doubt. There were times when I've done things so awkwardly. I've done things so without wanting to do them, because I just didn't know how to say no. I have followed certain things just because I was scared that if I said this, I would lose this. So I would just do it out of compulsion.
Yes.
But if I had not done that, I would have not become the person that I am today, where I can now very proudly say, sorry, no, this is not my cup of coffee. I don't like it this way. I want it this way.
Yes.
The older one would say, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
We were taught to compromise.
Yes.
We were just like, if you don't compromise, if you don't say, haan mein haan nahi milaoge, to life banegi nahi. No, you don't have to. And this, whatever you call it, epiphany, or this intelligence or whatever, this only comes after a certain age. And that's why I say my 40s is my favorite era, because it kind of just takes out it just removes all the bullshit out, It just gives you so much clarity that you don't have the patience to deal with it anymore. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is where I am. So yes, failures happen. And I think it is what has made me who I am today, and I'm very happy. I'm really glad I had those failures because I would not be where I am and happy today.
But this also brings me to our country, India, where success is always placed on the pedestal. Where competitive exams, if you see competitive exams, a lot of parents feel that's the final destination. And a lot of our children's self-worth is tied to grades, marks. And where are we headed? It's really sad when these children look back and say that if I don't get this grade, I'm a failure. And there's so much of awareness that needs to be made. There's so much of conversation that needs to be had on this subject, failure. I think parents have to start talking about failure because we are equipping everybody with success, the success stories. We look at, on television, we look at everybody's success stories. We look at, in our neighborhood, we look at, grades which are really amazing. Nobody really talks about a person who has, got less grades or what failure really is. How then do you think as parents, they can play a very important role talking about their own failures?
Correct.
Have you spoken about your failures to your
all
child?
All the time.
Yes.
Not just failures. I mean, I keep removing things out of, the pages from my own book. I mean, the best way to talk and the best way to make somebody, especially your child, understand is when you tell them about you. You don't have to show them a person, okay, see, this one did this. You just, you draw inspiration, you draw examples from your own book.
Yes.
10 pages from your own book and show that this is who I was.
Yeah, because your child can relate to your
life.
And
relate to you the most.
Yes,
I mean, he and she's your flesh and blood, at the end of the day. So if
True.
your child will relate to you the most than any
Very
other stranger's story. Yes, it's great to show success stories and have icons or have mentors or have people who you want to, like inspirations. It's great to have that. When I was young, my dad wanted me to be a tennis player, so I remember he had put Steffi Graf on my poster of Steffi Graf on my room. I wanted to be Madhuri Dixit and I had Madhuri Dixit in my room. So it's great to have them who will inspire you and you aspire to be them. It's great, but that's not the end all. If you don't tell your child or if you don't speak to your kids about your own personal failures, they say, I went to this, but this is where I am. The joy in that is different. They will relate to you way more than somebody else's story.
Very much.
And it's, like you said, it's important to have conversations, which is what I feel I think the onus is on us generation, us parents, to start inculcating this into the next generation, because then this should be normal. We should be normalize. Dinner table talk conversation should not be ki are aaj sport day mein kya hua, acha how many marks you got. No, it should be about who made you laugh today in school. Did you do something kind today? Did a teacher tell you a joke? When you start the conversation, कहते ना खाना ऐसे मत खाओ, है ना ऐसे खाओ उल्टा, and it'll come. Automatically it starts unfolding. So normalize conversations. Speak about anything and everything that you want your child to tell you. When you make it about you, or when you make it about yourself, then the child say, oh, achha, mama, you felt it that way. It happened to me also. Mama, that day on school, they start rattling things out. And that's how you get an insight in your child's psychology. Yes, it's great to send your child to a counselor, and I think you're wonderful. I want to send my child to talk to you also. But because there are things, again, another point, like I said, I am that aunt for a lot of my youngsters of my family and Arya's, my daughter's friends. But there are certain things that your child will never share with you as a parent. There is, I don't know, as much as you want to be the cool parent, there are things which they find it weird to share with you, and then they look for that person. And I think, yes, it's important.
And I agree with you on that, yes.
I believe that, yes, it's important for them to go to counselors, but you can be to a certain extent where your child feels comfortable to share with you. They can go to a counselor as well to share things more intimate that they find maybe a little shy to share with you. But if you can build that bridge, if you can build a bridge close enough, you're doing a good job. You don't really need to find outside help.
Yes, and parents have to give that pat on their backs. That they are,
and normalize having these conversations. It's okay. Our parents used to feel really shy. They grew up with this conditioning ki सारी बातें नहीं कर सकते. You can't talk about everything in front of your kids, Oh, girls and the boys and that separation. When you normalize it, it doesn't become it doesn't become a task. It just becomes normal.
Yes.
And then the next generation will pass it on to the next and next, and then hopefully there's going to be a wonderful world someday.
Very much, hopefully, yes. Yes, of course. But we have to go, I want to talk about the many relationship hats that you wear. You are a mum, you're a daughter, you're a wife, and so many other things, like a friend. How do you navigate through all of these relationships? And are there challenges, and how do you do it?
I don't do anything. I think I just try and be as true to myself.
Yeah.
I just try and be my most authentic self. I have made mistakes. I still make mistakes, and I'm sure I will also keep making mistakes in the future. And I guess that is what journey is, and that's what growth is.
Yes.
But I just try and be as authentic as I can in every character, every role, whether it's in real life or in career. I just try and be as authentic as I can.
Wow. Shveta, this brings me to a very, very interesting topic. My favorite, Goa.
Of course, mine too.
Yes. And as someone who's born and brought up in Goa, someone who's seen Goa over the years, it makes me genuinely happy that creatives like you choose Goa as your home. What drew you to Goa?
Actually, I didn't choose Goa. I think Goa chose me. It really is very, very like that. There was zero intentions of coming and doing this move. I had a thriving career back home in Bombay. I'm a Bombay born and bred.
Yes, I'm sure, yes.
My husband had his thriving career in Bombay. So there were no plans of moving to Goa. Like I said, Goa chose me. My parents moved in 2014, and I got pregnant in 2015, and the whole idea was to come here, have the baby, and go back to Bombay life. And one thing led to another. My partner Mayank Dubey, whose brand Burger Factory is, he and me are best friends, and we were just talking about, because I'm a foodie, and he's like, why don't we bring Burger Factory to Bombay? And then we did a whole recce of going to Bombay, and that didn't fall, and we put that on the back burner. And Arya was born in August 2016, and in September, October, I think we found our first land in Morjim, and Arya was 2 months old, and I walked in, and we both looked at each other, my partner, Mayank, and my husband, Hermit, and we said, okay, this is it. And we started Burger Factory. So there was no intention of starting a business. There was no intention of moving to Goa. There was no intention to do something different. My plan was to go back to Bombay, do exactly what I was doing. So yeah, Goa, I didn't choose Goa. I think Goa chose me.
Yes, and it was very organic.
It just was so organic.
Are you glad you are here?
I am very glad. I'm so happy. Like Goa, I think for me, Goa is more, it felt like space. See, Bombay is a hustle life. Okay, not saying that Goa is any less, but Bombay is just packed.
Yes.
It's bursting at its seams. Goa felt like space.
Yes.
Goa felt open. It felt like I could breathe here.
Yes.
At least 15 years back when I moved back, then of course Goa is now changing its face as well, and it's all development at the end of the day, which I'm quite sure you'll probably ask me about development also at some point. But that is but natural. That's progress. But 15 years back, it still has that space feel. But then it was even a lot more. It felt where I could breathe, I could be, and being a new mum, I had just had a baby. It was just such an organic and obvious move that I was like, yeah, why not? Yes. There was no question what am I going to do?
Yeah.
How can I just leave that career? I said, no, I'm not leaving a career. The career can still go on.
Yeah.
I was still flying back to Bombay and still doing my projects. Goa, Bombay is not a very far, space. I could manage to do it. So I'm like, why am I thinking like, I'm leaving something and starting something? No.
Yes.
I said, I'm just adding. It's like an extension, 1 bedroom flat se 2 bedroom flat ban gaya.
Yes,
it's like you're just extending your thing. You're just widening it out. So I didn't try to consider it like I'm cutting something and starting something. I just thought Goa is an extension to my life. And Goa was second, Bombay was first. Eventually over 15 years, Goa has become one primary and Bombay has become my second home. Oh. So it's just happened very, very seamlessly. It just kind of flowed.
Yes. And Goa, to be honest, Sveta, Goa to me is an emotion.
It is completely.
Just not a place. It's just not a home, It's a rhythm. It's a beat. It's our whole identity.
Yeah.
And of course, we are proud of Goa, and all my fellow Goans and the ones who made Goa their home will agree with me when I say that Goa is our pride, something that we absolutely love. But of course, there's a little bit of concern right now with all the changes that are happening. And change is good.
Change is good.
And they
Change
say
is but
development
natural.
is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It's all important. But, my question to you is, there's this little ache in our hearts, and in all of our hearts.
Yeah.
If you love Goa, you will right now have this ache in your heart. How do you think development and preservation can coexist responsibly?
Of course, I don't think I know it will. It's just how do you approach it in the way? It has to. It's the two sides of a same coin. Without one, the other will not exist. So speaking about development and preservation, like you mentioned, Joyce, like I believe that it's not can, it should, and it is a must. They have to coexist.
Yes.
You cannot have one or the either. At the end of the day, development is definitely necessary, but it has to be conscious. That was the word I was trying to find. It has to be conscious. Development has to be conscious. If you are trying to develop a place without respecting the land or without respecting the people of that land, then you're doing an injustice. That's not development. Then you're eating.
Yes.
You're not adding. Development and like preservation is when you add value. You want to develop a land, then you have to respect that land.
Yeah.
You have to respect the people of that land. That is the way you give back. You have to add, like I said, and not eradicate, not erase.
I think that's so heartening to hear, Shveta, because more and more people need to know that this is the right way to go about it. And I think it's not rocket science, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it has to
is.
be adhered to. I think rules need to be adhered to. Of
Absolutely.
The land.
Like, you said there are, like, just when I mentioned about Goa and how it was different when I came here 15 years ago. I mean, I've been coming to Goa since I was 17, okay, and 18, like, your college trips and you're with your friends and those parties and the beaches. And then I've seen without even living, you've born and brought up here.
Yes.
Without even living in Goa, I've seen Goa in all different phases, okay? And I very fondly reminisce about those old times and the chai mamis and the old, the clean beaches. But development and progress and change is probably the only thing that's constant, and it'll always be there. You cannot run away from it. You're seeing your roads dug up. You're seeing flyovers coming. We complain about the dust and the pollution. Agreed. Yes, it is a hindrance. It is a problem. But are you doing this to add value to the land? Is this development adding to the land? Is this development helping the land, helping the people of the land?
Yes.
Is it providing opportunities to the people of the land? When I decided to start my business here, whether it's the restaurant, whether it's the salon I open, whether when I do events, when I curate events, how am I adding more? Yes, I am gaining, I am doing, I am also developing, I am growing. But while I am developing, while I am growing, while I am making my money, am I adding value?
Yes.
Am I employing people from the land? Am I giving opportunities for that? Am I being more conscious about it?
Yeah, in fact, that was one of my questions. Now that you made Goa your home, what do you intend on giving back?
Correct.
And I think that is
and
a very relevant
and this
question.
is exactly my answer.
Yes.
How do I give back?
Yes.
Whether it comes in terms of employment, whether it in terms of being conscious about it. My restaurant in Morjim, we celebrated 10 years this year.
Wow,
so it's been 10 years.
Shveta.
Burger Factory Morjim has been 10 years. Burger Factory, the brand, has been there since 2012. Morjim was started in 2016. And it's and in these past so many years, my husband, me and my partner, we have seen so many businesses, so many restaurateurs and restaurants and bars come and go, open and shut. Sustaining is very, very tough. How do you keep on going? And that it can only be if you're being conscious. If your motive is only meko yahan pe aake paisa banana hai, then it's not going to happen. I want to come here and start a big brand and let it be run by my big staff or with my team. It's not going to work. You have to be there. You have to get your hands dirty. I was 2 months old when I started Burger Factory, and I was there taking orders, picking up plates, serving them, cleaning them, renovating every year. So Morjim is a 6-month restaurant. We are open only for 6 months, and at 6 months we're shut. So every year we dismantle it
and do it.
We assemble it. But the joy in doing that, and we're hands-on. There are times that when people would come initially, and they would look at me, and if I'm taking their order, and they look at me and say, "Oh, you're Shveta Salve." I said, "Yeah." is this your restaurant? I said, yeah. I said, mere din itne bure nahi ho gaye ki that, I'm here just taking your orders. Even though there's nothing wrong in it. But yes, I do. I take pride in it. I take a lot of joy in it.
Yes.
And when your staff sees you doing everything that they are doing, then you eradicate hierarchy.
Very
much. There is no boss and, employee. You erase that line. You lead as being one. So these are little things that I have learned in my journey. These are not things that I learned as an actor. Back home in Bombay, these qualities or these opportunities were never given because I was in a one-track mind. I was doing my acting, I was dancing, I was performing. But this side, I discovered this side of me only when I moved. When I didn't move,
did the beach give you perspective?
The space, Goa, the air. I think it's everything about Goa that's joyful. And everything has to coexist. Development, preservation has to coexist.
So you used a very important term, sustainability. Okay. What is your take on education in Goa, introducing terms like sustainable development, nature conservation? Shouldn't this be mainstream education for our children so that they can learn and they can then inculcate it in?
Absolutely. Yes. I would say, I don't know about mainstream. I mean, you're an educator, so you would be better to answer this. But from a parent's point of view or from just a person who, my point of view, I think it should be hand in hand.
Yes.
Education should have your basic academics. Your child needs to know basic. I mean, how much of algebra and how much of trigonometry are you and me using in today's day and
Very
life,
much,
right?
yes.
I remember my biggest issues, my worst subject was actually history because I was not very fond of my teacher. If she's watching me, no, I love you. Okay, Miss Nasi, if you're watching. I'm not fond, I was scared of her. So, I used to run away from that subject. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that there are certain things that when we were learning, we don't use them in today's daily life at all. So as long as education has your basics that you need to use in daily life, along with that, if you have how to teach them social skills, financial understanding, I think finance, more than math and this, you have to teach your kids how to manage their finances.
Yes.
Teach basics, how to save, how to use, basic that, because these are life skills that they are actually going to use when they grow up.
Yes.
Creative entrepreneurship, fan that fire in your child. If your child shows that in it, let that be. So I think these all things should be a part of education now, apart from your math, science, geography.
Very much. And if you had the freedom to redesign the educational policy here, would all of this fit into?
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Like I said, apart from your basic subject, which is your math, your English, your science, that you need world studies, you need to know a little bit. You cannot be oblivious and dumb. You cannot keep running to Google or ChatGPT to help you just because you have it on your fingertips now.
Yes.
You need to have the basic knowledge in you. But despite of that, I need to know. I mean, I would love. The other day, I had gone for a store's workshop, and it was about embroidery. Okay, so they had a lovely workshop, and they gathered some women, and they gave us things, and I was doing some embroidery. And Arya, my daughter, came from school, and she was going for football, and she came to say hi to me. She's like, "Mama, what are you doing?" I said, "Baby, I'm doing patchwork." She's like, "What is patchwork?"
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, go." And she was running for football. I said, "Go." And I just kept thinking. I said, this is a skill that I learned in school, because you had a subject called needlework, which is not a part of school academics anymore. But it's like swimming, it's like cycling. I learned it, and my hands just automatically started doing it.
Because it was
muscle memory. It's a skill. And I was like, my child does not know what it is. I said, tomorrow if she breaks a button, she will not know how to stitch a button. I just made a mental note that, I have to make sure that I teach her this.
Yes.
Now, why? Now, as a parent, I feel it, but I think if this was a part of education, if it's a part of your school academics, which was with mine, Miss Khurana was my teacher, I'll never even forget her name.
Yes.
She was the one who taught us knitwork, crochet, stitching. Now, if you give me needles, I will know how to knit. It's not that I knit every day, but it's just muscle memory, and I know how to do it.
Yes.
Now, where that skill will help me in life someday, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But it's a skill. A skill can never go. It's always great to have a skill, right?
So schools have to focus.
Yeah, whether it is like this, like whether it's you teach your child pottery, teach child how to cook food.
Yeah.
Kids need to know when they grow up. You might have to cook your own food.
Such an essential life skill.
Carpentry. Tomorrow you have to learn how to put a bulb on. Something happens, you don't have to keep running.
Yes.
Make your child self-sufficient. I think being self-sufficient is an education that should be a part of your education.
I think you've said it. The word self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient.
I think it's so important. And if most schools and colleges can, make this a part of their curriculum, I think we are going to go a long way. It's so important.
There has to be a shift in education. I do feel there has to be. Yeah.
And now that we are building creators and entrepreneurs, life skill building only becomes more and more relevant.
Absolutely.
I think it's so important.
Very important.
Now, I want you to unpack entrepreneurship for me. Demystify it for me and for all the followers and for all the listeners.
I don't know. I mean, you're asking me like as I'm somebody who knows what about it.
Everything. You have businesses. Shveta, tell us all about entrepreneurship.
Okay. Like I said, there was no plans of becoming an entrepreneur. There was no plans of starting any businesses. The plan was to have the baby and go back to Bombay and look pretty and do makeup and be in front of the camera. Everything just kind of organically happened. Maybe that was the shift that I guess subconsciously my universe needed, and I just kind of manifested it on subconsciously. But for me, entrepreneurship and like you said, what it is, it gave me control. Let's say that, okay? It gave me control of my own life.
Yes.
When I was back home in Bombay and doing what I was doing, and I love that job. I still love it. I still do it, but it's on the back seat because what I do now a lot more has given me control over my life, control over my body, control over my creative journey. Like I said, I've got the reins in my hand now. I'm not answerable to anyone.
Yes.
I'm answerable to myself. What I do is what I intend to do. I do it with intention. I don't do it because I have to follow something.
Yes.
So entrepreneurship, it gave me freedom. It gave me control. And it gave me a lot of security.
Wow.
You know, financial security. And that is what I think it is for you too.
And I think, what is your take on financial, independence for women? Do you think they show up differently at their workplaces, in their relationship? How important is it?
Extremely important. My mom used to work, and then after she had me and my brother, she took a sabbatical and she stopped working. And now she's 70 and she still reminisces and she still very fondly remembers what she used to do when she was. So my mom was an air hostess. She used to fly for Air India. And she still says, whenever we take a flight and she looks at the hostess, I can see a glint in her eye where she's like, I said, Mama, she's like, you put me a uniform right now. I can do everything even now. I know exactly where the galley is. I know that joy. And I see that joy in her. And I'm like, Mama, why did you ever leave?
Yes.
She's like, baby, I did it because I had to take care of my kids. Now, obviously, that's a choice she made. These are every choice has a consequence, okay? And I said, Mama, you own it. She said, I own it. I took this choice and I own it. I brought up 2 wonderful children. I have no regrets. But yes, I do miss this. I said, Mama, who told you? You should have. Like now, sometimes, when I was young, I said, Mama, why did you do it? You should have. You would have still kept working. She's like, no, this was my journey. Maybe my life was supposed to be this. And I'm happy where I am. But what it does for me, and I believe, and I truly believe, I said, Mama, if you had asked me this then, I would have said, don't ever leave your job.
Yeah.
I think whatever it is, whether you're a homemaker also, if you choose to be a homemaker, find something to do from home.
Yeah, some kind of a purpose.
Some kind of a purpose.
Yes.
Whatever it is, because financial independence is security at the end of the day. And I think no woman should not have that. You need to have something that you know that it's mine.
Yeah.
I made it, I built it, I created it. You're at home, if you're a good cook, start a tiffin service, there are so many jobs that you can sit at home online and do.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can do everything. You can wear multiple hats. Women are built, like I come back to what I said, we were built to be multitaskers.
Yeah, and I think also we live in a very good time today.
And it's
where social media really helps you if you want to take on a business.
Anything, So I would say don't ever shy away to women. I said, please go for it. Yes. I'm a very firm believer of that kind of empowerment. And I stand by it.
That's great, listeners. You have to take this advice. I think it's so important. But what about the youngsters who are wanting to build a brand, who want to get into business, Shveta? A lot of them don't take that step because of fear. There's fear that stops
failure.
them. Yeah. Or probably maybe fear that, things may not work out the way they should go for them. What is your advice to these? And are you able to share some of your own fears that you overcame?
I mean, first of all, like I said, I didn't come from a business mind. I didn't study business. I didn't study finance. So I didn't know whether I had that in me. So that was a fear. Yeah. Will I be able to do this? That was a fear whether I can do it. I was lucky to have a partner in my husband who came from that thought process. So I learned from him. There are things that there's no end to learning. Okay. Yeah. And when I mean learning and education is all types of education. So he taught me number. He taught me the number game. He taught me the finance side of it. I started looking at it from a different angle. I'm a creative. Like I said, my favorite job or my favorite role is to be a creator, and I will die being one. That is what I love.
Yes.
That's where my passion lies. But I don't want to shy away from learning something new. So when I started these different businesses, I saw it from a different angle. So those were my fears, whether I'll be able to do it. But you learn on the job.
Yeah.
You know, you learn through experiences. You learn through, if you don't get your hands dirty, you're not going to understand it. So I did have those fears, and I overcame it, and I still have them, and I still overcome it. So it's a process. It'll keep going.
And how do you get these youngsters to take that risk? Why are they so scared?
I feel the youngsters of today's generation are very, very brave. In fact, I would say we were slightly more, not scared, but we were slightly more apprehensive.
And calculated.
And we were being a little bit more safe. So I do feel that the kids today, the youngsters today, have a lot more opportunities. Gone are the days when jobs were only doctor, engineer, lawyer. You know, you have so much more. You can be an editor, you can be a content creator, you can be a camera person, you can be an artist, you can be a whatever. You can really pick and choose. And I think kids today, the youngsters today, are braver than what we were.
Yes.
I get inspired by seeing a lot of these young, especially on social media, when I see these young content creators doing beautiful work. It inspires me also at this age, and it helps me do better at what I do. So there's a lot more. I would just say, just go for it.
Yes, that's very heartening to hear.
Unapologetically.
Yes, very much. So now moving on from the glamour to grit and success to legacy, we always see the performance, Shveta. We never see the preparation.
Yeah.
What's the BTS like?
Well, I would just say never walk into a room unprepared. Okay, never walk into a room. Like even today, when we having this conversation, and when you told me, Shveta, please come on this podcast, and I asked you, what are the kind of conversations we're going to have? I did my homework.
Yes.
I prepared myself. I don't like walking into a room unprepared. I like to know what I'm walking. So the BTS is never walk into a room unprepared. Do your homework. Be resilient. Be confident. Train. Rest. Be kind to yourself. Be confident, and just make sure that you're prepared. I think being prepared is always very important.
Wow. That's amazing. Now we can't move forward. This conversation is not complete, Shveta, if we don't talk about fitness.
Of course.
And it's not complete if we don't acknowledge how stunning you're looking today.
Thanks,
and always when I see you, how are you so fit? I mean, I'm not asking how are you so fit. Of course, there's a lot of discipline and hard work that goes in it. But I really want to know what's your routine like? What's your regime? What's the discipline that goes behind
Discipline,
it?
that is it.
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, it's discipline. See, being fit or having a good body, I came from an industry where this was a part and parcel of it. It was a prerequisite. You need to look a certain way, right? Yes. So it was already there. It was already inculcated. Thankfully, I was born with good genes. Thanks, mom and dad. That I was never somebody who had to really work too hard towards it. But I was always a body type. I was built in a way which worked for me then.
Yeah.
But that was my 20s. It took me only to that much. Today, my body is my body journey is completely changed. It's not about looking a certain way. It's not about fitting a certain size.
Yes.
It's about how healthy I am.
Yeah.
My body for me right now is my vessel that I want to keep it going. I want to be able to run a marathon.
I like this word vessel. I'm going to keep this with me. I think it's so important.
It really is, because it is like a bowl, you know.
Yes.
We are born as an empty shell.
Yes.
And by the time our life goes on, we keep adding. Now, if that additions are education or creativity or whatever, you born as an empty bowl, and then by the time they say, how do you live a fulfilled or a full life is when your bowl is full and it's overflowing.
But full with the right things.
With the right things. So hence that is a vessel.
Yes.
So yeah, body for me today is how healthy I am. I need to be able to run a marathon. I need to be able to match Arya's energy. You know, she's a child. I don't want to ever say, oh, Arya, go ahead, I'll take a break. No, I want to match it. In fact, if not better, match her at least.
Yes.
And keep it going, man. I think that's what body is at the moment. At the end of the day, it's for me, it's just to protect me, to take me ahead, and keep me going.
Yes. Yeah. And Shveta, we've reached the end.
Oh, I was having so much fun.
It. And we've spent so much time in the studio
I could
together.
keep talking to you.
Yes,
you're a great person. I can have a conversation.
Thank you so much. But you know, when you look back at your journey, or when your daughter looks back at your journey one day, what do you hope she understands about you?
I just hope my daughter, if she looks back, she says my mama was there. I want her to know that mama was always present.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want her to ever feel that, I don't want her to ever think that I was absent. I want to be present. And if she says that, oh, my mom was there,
Yes.
you know, if that's what she says.
And that's just so profound.
That is
she
it.
Was there.
She was there, you know, that's it. And I think I've done my job then, you know.
And if life had a tagline for you today, Shveta, what would it be?
Unapologetically evolving. I am still evolving. I'm still growing. So yeah.
Wow.
Without any apologies.
Oh, very good. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, Shveta, looks like we never end. There's still more. Could you give us some?
Okay, let's give you something nice. What a concluding goodbye statement would be. Success is, because we're talking about success and stuff, right? Success is not an applause. I think success is an alignment. Okay, if you can build a life that you feel is honest, if you can build a life that you can feel is unapologetic, if you can build a life that is the most authentic you, then you're aligned perfectly. And I guess that's what at the end it is. So it's not an applause, it's an alignment.
Wow. That's amazing. Did you like come up with this yourself?
Yeah, that's what I was like, I need to remember to say this line because I really wrote it and I can see Riddhi writing her little hook line over there.
Wow, Shveta, thank you for showing that, you know, confidence and vulnerability can coexist.
Absolutely.
And thank you for letting us know that legacy is not just built on applause, but on authenticity.
Absolutely.
This was your Unscripted and it was beautiful. Today we spoke about many layers. We spoke about Shveta's journey in the world of entertainment. We spoke about the highs, the rejections, the failures, and so many different things. We spoke about the conversations that we don't often have. But if there's one thing that we are taking away with us today, it is this. We have to learn to be kind to ourselves, and we have to learn to love ourselves in the middle of all the chaos and not just when we've made it in life. If you're going through a tough time, if you're going through struggles, know that you're not alone. There is help available. I'm going to leave some helpline numbers and some information that you can check it out. Remember that reaching out for help is a strength and not a weakness. If there's something from this episode that you heard today, stayed with you, sit with it, share with your family and friends. Start a conversation around it. This is Unscripted with Joyce, where we slow down and we reflect and we remember that becoming is just a work in progress. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow and subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify. And stay connected with me on Instagram, where we continue our sosegado and intentional conversations. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and stay unscripted.